Good morning, children. How are you doing today? I hope you all are fine. Children, I have already started lesson number 1 of history, that is historiography, development in the West. We have already covered the concepts of tradition of historiography, modern historiography. Today, we will learn about development of scientific perspective in Europe and historiography and some of the notable scholars. But before learning or before proceeding further, let's have a quick recap of what we have learned in our previous class. Yes, we had learned about what is historiography. The writing of critical historical narrative is known as historiography. A scholar who writes such a narrative is historian. We had also learned about the various disciplines useful in historical research, that is archaeology, archival science, manuscriptology, epigraphy, analysis of lettering style, linguistics, numismatics, genealogy, etc. We had learned about the characteristics of modern historiography. In that it is based on scientific principles. It leads to it begins with the formation of questions. These questions are anthropocentric. It means it does not have any relationship between the divine and the human deeds. It is based on the deeds of the human beings of the past. And the answers, whichever the answers are getting, it are supported by relevant evidence. History presents a graph of mankind's journey. These are the 4 important characteristics that we have learned in our previous class. Herodotus, he was a Greek historian. He used it first for his book entitled The History. So till now we have covered this, children. To make your concepts more clear, I'll be showing you a video. So they are all concepts related to these two topics, that is tradition of historiography and modern historiography, will be more clear.
Chapter number 1, Historiography, Development in the West. Introduction. Historical research, writing and studies are carried out with an objective of understanding the chronology of the past events and their interconnections. This is a continuous process. In the physical and natural sciences, the empirical method, that is, laboratory method of experiments and observation, is used to verify the available knowledge. This method allows formulating laws that remain true irrespective of the time and space. Those laws can be tested and proved repeatedly. In historical research, it may not be possible to use the method of laboratory experiments and observation. This is so because we were not present in the historical time and space, and the historical events cannot be recreated. Also, in history, it is not possible to formulate laws that remain true irrespective of the time and space. To begin, we need an expert who knows the language and script of a historical document in order to read it and understand its meaning. Also, the experts can examine the authenticity of the document by using criteria such as lettering style, author's style of writing, manufacturing date and type of paper, stamps of authority, etc. Such a document is further scrutinized by a historian with the help of relevant historical references. Methods of various disciplines are useful in historical research. For example, archaeology, archival science, manuscriptology, epigraphy, study of inscriptions, analysis of lettering style, linguistics, numismatics, study of coins, genealogy, study of lineage, etc. Historical research method. Writing of historical narrative. Formulating hypothesis. Critically examining of various sources of history. Formulating relevant questions in view of the historical references. Examining relevant references of the available historical information. Collecting historical information, highlighting the process that leads to historical transitions, carrying out comparative analysis. Understanding the references regarding time and space of the given historical events and also various conceptual frameworks used in historical research method. Tradition of historiography. We have learned about the historical research method, critically examining the historical sources and writing the historical narrative. The writing of critical historical narrative is known as historiography. A scholar who writes such a narrative is a historian. The historian cannot include every past event in his narrative. The inclusion and interpretation of historical events by the historian often depends on the conceptual framework adopted by him. His style of writing is determined by that conceptual framework. The tradition of writing historical narrative, that is, historiography, was not prevalent in the ancient societies of the world. However, that does not mean that they were not aware of the historical time or were not eager to know about it. Ancient people also felt the need of passing on the stories of the life and valor of the ancestors to the next generation. Ancient communities all over the world used various means like cave paintings, storytelling, singing songs and ballads, etc. for this purpose. These traditional means are looked upon as the sources of history in the modern historiography. Do you know? The above picture shows a fragment of the earliest inscription. A forward marching file of soldiers holding shields and spears is seen here. The general is in the front. The tradition of recording historical event can be traced back to Sumer civilization in Mesopotamia. Names of Sumerian kings and the stories of battles fought by them have been preserved in various inscriptions. The earliest inscription shown above dates back to 4500 BCE. It records a battle fought between two kingdoms. It is now displayed at the Louvre Museum in France. Modern historiography. Four main characteristics of modern historiography. Its method is based on scientific principles. It begins with the formation of relevant questions. These questions are anthropocentric. It means that these questions are about the deeds of the members of ancient human societies of a particular period. History does not suggest any interrelation between the divine and human deeds. Answers to these questions are supported by reliable evidence. History presents a graph of mankind's journey with the help of the past human deeds. It is said that the modern historiography with above characteristics has its roots in the ancient Greek historical writings. History is originally a Greek term. Herodotus, the Greek historian of the 5th century BCE, used it first for his book entitled The Histories.
I hope children, now by watching such video, your concepts about tradition and modern historiography are clear. Now let us proceed further. Development of scientific perspective in Europe and historiography. Now children, till the 18th century CE, Europe had achieved a remarkable progress in the fields of philosophy and science. Now what is philosophy? Now this word philosophy has derived, or you can say it has come from the Greek itself. It means love of wisdom. Now it is basically the study of the fundamental questions related to existence, values, etc. So it is basically the set of beliefs about the meaning of life. Okay. Now, so it is till the 18th century, Europe had achieved a remarkable progress in the field of science and philosophy. But then scholars by then, they had come to believe in the possibility of studying the social and historical truths by applying scientific methods. You have already learnt in the modern historiography that it is based on the scientific principles only. Relevant questions are framed, but the methods, we will be applying the scientific methods. So scholars, they had come to believe in the possibility of studying the social and historical truths by applying the scientific methods. Now, their philosophical discussions focused more and more on the objectivity in history and historiography. So, their discussions now were focusing more and more on the objectivity. What is the objectivity in history and historiography? Prior to 18th century, all the European universities, they were interested in the philosophical discourses revolving around the divine phenomena. Now, what is discourses? Discourses are basically we can say the written or the spoken communication. So, prior to that, all the European universities, they were interested in the philosophical discourses revolving around the divine phenomena. However, gradually this scenario began to change. And in the year 1737 CE, the Göttingen University was founded in Germany. Now, this university had an independent department in history. That is, for the first time, the university had an independent department of history. Where children? In Göttingen University, which is in Germany. Later, other German universities also, they became the centers of the historical studies. So, prior to 18th century, all the European universities, they were interested in philosophical discourses. Philosophical discourses, what is discourses? Discourses is about the written or the spoken communication, and it revolved around the divine phenomena. Divine means related to God and all. However, what happened over a period of time? This scenario has started changing, and in 1737 CE, the Göttingen University was founded in Germany. Then the other German universities also became centers of the historical studies. Children, this is a University of Göttingen. It is in Germany, and for the first time it had a department of history.
Development of scientific perspective in Europe and historiography. Till the 18th century CE, Europe had achieved a remarkable progress in the fields of philosophy and science. Scholars by then had come to believe in the possibility of studying the social and historical truths by applying scientific methods. Now, the philosophical discussions focused more and more on the objectivity in history and historiography. Prior to the 18th century, all European universities were interested only in the philosophical discourses revolving around divine phenomena. However, gradually this scenario began to change. In 1737 CE, the Göttingen University was founded in Germany. This university, for the first time, had an independent department of history. Later, other German universities also became centers of historical studies. The contribution.
Now, let us have a look at the notable scholars. Okay, the contribution of many scholars is very important in the development of historiography. Let us have a look at the contribution of few notable scholars. The first and the foremost among it is René Descartes. René Descartes, 1596 to 1650. He was the foremost among scholars who insisted on verifying the reliability of historical documents by critically examining them. So what was his view? That whichever historical document is derived, from that historical document, we have to critically examine that. We have to see to it that it is authentic. So for testing the reliability of the document, carefully it has to be viewed or it has to be scrutinized. So he was the foremost among the scholars who insisted on verifying the reliability of historical document by critically examining them. And among the rules given by him in his book, Discourse on the Method, the following is supposed to have a great impact on scientific method of research. Which is that rule? Never to accept anything for true till all grounds of doubt are excluded. So, according to him, we should never accept anything for true until and unless all the grounds of doubts are excluded. So, which is the book written by René Descartes? Discourse on the Method. Very important book written by René Descartes. Let us move to the next one, that is Voltaire, 1694 to 1778. Now, Voltaire's original name was Francois Marie Arouet. He was a French. Now, he declared that along with the objective truth and chronology of historical events, considering social traditions, trade, economy, agriculture, they were also very, very important in writing the historical events or in writing the historiography. So, he was a French and he had declared what he has opined, that along with the objective truth and chronology of historical events, considering social traditions, trade, economy, agriculture, they all were equally important. Means all aspects of human life should be included in historiography. It gave rise to the thought that understanding all aspects of human life is very important for writing history, and therefore Voltaire was said to be the founder of the modern historiography. This is very important, that who is the founder of the modern historiography? So what is the answer? Voltaire. It had come in the board examination also, children. So very important about Voltaire. He was the founder of the modern historiography. Let us learn about the next scholar, George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, 1770 to 1831. Hegel was a German philosopher. He insisted that historical reality should be presented in a logical manner. Logical means in a rational manner. By understanding each and every historical event, it should be presented in a logical manner. To him, timeline of historical events was indicative of progress. Children, definitely the timeline, that is the sequence of events as per the time. Now, for example, as I have already given you in the previous classes also, that is about the Stone Age man. We have learnt about the transition, Homo erectus, then we had the Homo sapien, Homo sapiens sapiens. So, there is a transition. So, there is definitely a progress. Man has learnt more and more over a period of time. So, according to Hegel, timeline of historical events was indicative of progress. He also thought that presentation of history is bound to change over a period of time as new evidence would come forth. That is this. See, historical research, you all know, okay, we cannot prove certain things because we cannot go back to that time. So, that events cannot be recreated. We have learnt about it in the tradition historiography that it cannot be recreated. So, it is possible that over a period of time it may change, that because of the historical research new evidences can come forth. So there is a possibility that it could change. So the collection of his lectures, that is Hegel's lectures and articles, is published in a book entitled Encyclopedia of Physical Sciences. His book Reason in History is well known. So very important, children, from the objective point of view. Okay, you can have it in the correct the wrong pair and that objective type questions. You can have this question in your examination. So collection of his lectures and articles is published in a book entitled Encyclopedia of Philosophical Sciences, and his book Reason in History is well known. Okay, Philosophical Sciences, his book, that is his lectures, are in the book, published in the book Encyclopedia of the Physical Sciences. His book Reason in History is also very well known. Children, now let us learn about a very important concept proposed by Hegel, that is dialectics. Now, according to Hegel, grasping the meaning of any event happens in terms of two direct opposites. Now what is this? Now human mind, according to him, human mind cannot understand the true nature of event without understanding the opposites. For example, true or false, good or bad. So any event, whether it is true or false, whether it is good or bad. So human mind cannot grasp that historical event without understanding whether it is a true or false event, whether it is a good or a bad event. So in order to understand the true nature of a thing, one needs to know both true and false, similarly good and bad. So this method of analysis, which is based on opposites, is called as or is known as dialectics. This is very important question. Explain the concept dialectics. So what is it? Now according to Hegel, human mind cannot grasp the historical event before understanding the true nature of that event. Whether that event is good or bad, it's true or false. So the method of analysis which is based on opposites is called as dialectics. So in this, what happens? In this method, a theory is proposed at the beginning, which is called thesis. Okay, so there is a question first. So there is a theory which is proposed, which is called as thesis. Then another theory is proposed which is contrary or which is opposite to that. It is called antithesis. So first a theory is proposed, that is called thesis. Then another theory is proposed that is opposite of that, or you can say contrary to thesis, that is antithesis. Then after a logical discussion of both, that is the thesis and antithesis, a new thesis is proposed. Okay, and that is called, which is having a gist of both. That is, it includes the what we say in the thesis whatever was discussed, or in antithesis whatever was discussed, whatever logical discussion had taken place. From these two, the gist of both is taken, and a new theory or a new process of arriving a new thesis is called as synthesis. So in his method, first there is a thesis, antithesis, and then the gist of both, that is synthesis. So this is the very important concept, that is dialectics. Explain what is dialectics. Okay, very important theory which is proposed by Hegel. You can see this. Okay, thesis, that is ideology or way of thinking. Then antithesis, opposite ideology or reactionary way of thinking. So somebody has proposed something, and there will be antithesis, that is contrary or opposite of thesis. After the conflict, that is after the logical discussions, there will be a synthesis or compromise. So this is the very important concept of dialectics. Thesis, that is a new idea. Then antithesis, opposing reaction. Synthesis. So this again I gave you one diagram where you can understand what exactly is dialectics. Thesis give rise to antithesis. Tension is created, that is logical discussions take place, and it is resolved through synthesis. So that is simple way dialectics could be explained. I hope you have understood what is dialectics. This is proposed by Hegel. Now let us learn about Leopold von Ranke, 1765 to 1886. Leopold von Ranke. Now historiography of the 19th century was greatly influenced by the thoughts of Leopold von Ranke of Berlin University. Now he spoke on about the critical method of historical research. So what did he speak about? The critical method. Critical means very important method of historical research. He put emphasis on the utmost importance of information gathered through the original documents, and according to him, these original documents should be examined very carefully with great care. He believed with this method it is possible to reach the historical truth. So history of the 19th century was influenced by the thoughts of Leopold von Ranke of Berlin University. And what did he stress on? He stressed on that the original documents should be examined with utmost care. So with that, it is possible to reach the historical truth. and he criticized imaginative narration of history. Means you cannot imagine things and write about history. You have to arrive at the truth by examining the documents, original documents, and then you should reach to the historical truth. There is no imagination in history. Everything should be done by critical examination of the original documents. Collection of his articles is published in his two books entitled The Theory and Practice of History and Secret of World History. So these are the two books written by him. Which are the two books? The Theory and Practice of History and The Secret of World History. The Theory and Practice of History and The Secret of World History. These are the two important books written by Leopold von Ranke of Berlin University.
The writing of critical historical narrative is known as historiography. The contributions of many scholars are important in the development of history. Do you want to know who some of these notable scholars are? The first among these scholars is René Descartes. He insisted that the written history should not be taken on its face value. Rather, every fact must be verified and critically examined. He wrote a book titled Discourse on the Method. He told people to never accept anything for true till all grounds of doubt are excluded. His thoughts had a great impact on the scientific method of research. Voltaire, 1694 till 1778. Francisco Marie Arouet, famously known as Voltaire, was a French scholar. He is also known as the founder of modern historiography. Voltaire believed that history is not about writing facts objectively and in a chronological order alone. It should also include social traditions, trade, economy, agriculture, etc. His ideas initiated the tradition of including different aspects of human life in writing history. This is why he is considered the father of modern historiography. George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, 1770 to 1831, a German philosopher, asserted that historical reality should be presented in a logical manner. He considered the timeline of historical events as indicative of progress. He argued that the presentation of history is bound to change because new pieces of evidence will continue to surface and alter our understanding of history. Hegel believed that a thorough logical discussion on two opposite views of an event, which he calls thesis and antithesis, help to understand the true nature of events. Hence, it is necessary to know the good and bad, true and false. This process of arriving at the new thesis is called synthesis. The book Encyclopedia of Philosophical Sciences is a collection of his literature and articles. He wrote a well-known book called Reason in History. Leopold von Ranke was one of the most influential thinkers in the 19th century. He believed that the information gathered through original documents is of prime importance. He also opined that the historical documents have to be examined with the utmost care before reaching to the historical truth. He criticized imaginative narration of history. The books, The Theory and Practice of History and The Secret of the World History are the collection of his articles.
Children, you learnt about the contribution of various scholars in the historiography. You learnt about René Descartes, then Voltaire, he is the father of the modern historiography. Then you learned about Hegel, Leopold von Ranke. These are some of the notable scholars you have learned today. Okay. Now in the next class, I'll be continuing with a few more scholars and their contribution in the modern historiography. Now let me see whether you have understood or not the chapter. Okay. Now there's a small activity for you. Let me see whether you have understood the chapter or not. Now here, children, I have given the name of some scholars. Okay. And you have to tell me which are the books or what are their works. Yes, come on, I give you some time. Let us see now what are the answers. René Descartes, which was the book written by him? Discourse on the Method. Then next we had learned about the Hegel, Reason in History and Encyclopedia of Physical Sciences. Leopold von Ranke, the book written by him is Theory and Practice of History and Secret of World History. So such type of objective questions are expected in your exam. What are the works of the notable scholars? Which are the books written by them? So you should know the names of the scholars and the books written. These could be your objective questions in your examination. Okay, children. Now after watching this video, you will be getting a link. So you have to click on that and submit the answers to us so that we understand how much you all have understood about it. Okay, so in the next class I will be continuing with the next few notable scholars about their contribution in historiography. Okay, children, thank you my dear students. Meet you in the next class.